you. Okay. Well, good evening. I'm Brady Burrell for KQKI with the KQKI Digital Video Network. Myself, along with Brian Prodich, we are live here from the Morgan City Municipal Auditorium, where Morgan City Mayor Lee Dragna has called a public meeting tonight to address concerns they have with the St. Mary Parish Council voting 8-3 last Wednesday to remove all of the board members of St. Mary Parish Consolidated Drainage District 2A over concerns they had over the business dealings of the drainage district. Now, of course, Mayor Lee Dragna, of course, disputes that, and he wants to answer some questions tonight here at the Morgan City Municipal Auditorium. So therefore, he has called this public meeting to address those concerns and answer any questions that the citizens of Morgan City may have. Of course, St. Mary Parish Councilman Patrick Hebert offered the resolution to remove the board members, which was referred from the February 11th, 2025 meeting when Councilman Jimmy Davis had originally planned to present that resolution. However, it was tabled, and then it was taken up again this past Wednesday night. Hebert said the district just was not handling the business or the finances properly. So therefore, the council voted 8-3 to remove the board members. In the meantime, Chief Administrative Officer Paul Gouvernail will immediately assume the responsibilities of operating the drainage district until new board members can be appointed in approximately 6 weeks. And voting in favor of removing the board members were council members Patrick Hebert, Jimmy Davis, Mark Duhan, Gwen Hidalgo, Reverend Craig Matthews, Jay Ina, Rodney Olander, and David Hill. Voting against the resolution were Dean Adams, Dr. Christy Rink, and Les Rolfe. Of course, Mayor Dragna, he thinks that the city could be left vulnerable to flooding with that decision. And we'll hear from him tonight as we get started.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Better? All right, if y'all want to have a seat, we're going to get started. Paul, you're welcome to come up here. If you want to sit up here, you can stay down there if you want to stay down there. This is it will only be a question and answer session. There will be no debate. There will be no argument. If you argue or debate, those police officers back there will escort you out. Check. Oh. Hey. All right. So I passed around some little booklets of information. I only had so many, didn't realize the place is going to be full. I'm sure there's hundreds of people, if not more than that, that's going to be online. What you see in front of you, that piece of paper, is the CEA between the drainage district and the city that was signed as me, Lee Dragna, as the chairman of the drainage district back in 2019 or 2020, and Booger Zaffe as the mayor of Morgan City. The next thing you're going to see is a letter that I sent as the mayor to the drainage district, T. Baker Smith, and the parish council and David Hannegriff, putting them on notice that the pump station did not work, because I was there for the test, and trust me, it did not work. And I told them that this is not an act of God. If it rains, it's an act of misengineering. So that puts certain people liable at that point. The next thing you're going to see is a letter that I gave to Mr. Paul Gouvernail Monday, canceling that CEA because some of the things in that CEA, the parish, the pump district, broke the CEA in a couple ways. So up here I have all the T. Baker Smith, all of the sea level, and all of the Bow Brothers contracts to back up everything I'm going to say. Everything is in black and white. I'm going to start this thing off with just a brief summary of what happened with this pump district. So I'll tell you what, we're just going to do a question. We're going to go straight to question and answer because I'm sure we're going to have to answer it anyway. So, who's first? Dutch? All right, you want to come up?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for taking my question. I'm up here for two reasons. One is this: I own property in Morgan City and on Plum Street and on Fillmore, and so I'm a bit concerned about the water issues in Morgan City. And two is I have an opinion based on the fact that I was involved in pumping water and drainage for over 10 years, so I've had a great deal of experience. I was having some problem issues, and I heard about you being involved in your drainage district in Morgan City and how successful you were, the things you were doing, and you gave me a lot of success. At the time that I was communicating with you, I heard to be what would be the greatest significant increase in the safety against flooding for Morgan City since levees and seawalls. The plan that you had, in my opinion, would have been the single biggest improvement in the status of Morgan City relative to flooding, and I'm confused as hell of how we got from that plan, which in my opinion was outstanding, to where we are today. And number two is I'm upset with the comments that were made relative to records not being available from the drainage district to the parish council, when I know that at the end of every month the parish council gets from every single board the payroll expenses and everything.
Judge, I need a question, not a debate.
How did we get from what I thought was an outrageous plan when it was first designed to where we are today?
You want the whole story?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna condense it down to the very high level view because this can go on for an hour. I'm gonna do it in 10 minutes. I ran the drainage district as the president of drainage district for 7 years. In that 7 years, we found corruption. We had hundreds of thousands of dollars returned. We put people in jail. We fixed the pumps. We changed the motors. We built levees. We built 15,000 feet of levees, all right, as the drainage district, not as anybody else, not as the parish or anything. No problems. Everything worked. When it came time to come up with a project, this project for this new pump station, which caused every problem we have. All right. I went to the state government and I said, hey, is there some type of program that would protect us from like misengineering and or overruns on budgets in the whole 9 yards? And Mr. Sam Jones right here told me about a new program, brand new, called CMAR. In CMAR, I have the breakdown of it right here, exactly what it is. Is the construction management at risk, the project delivery method where a construction manager is hired early in the design phase to manage the project from design to construction with a guaranteed maximum price. The construction manager provides input on cost, schedules, and constructability to complete the project. It goes on to early involvement and then cost certainty. The guaranteed maximum price provides the owner will have a clear understanding of the project's cost. Early construction management involves leads to better communication and coordination between the design team and the construction team. Enhanced risk management. The construction management expertise helps mitigate potential risk during the design and construction phase. It goes on for pages. All right. So basically what CMAR does is the maximum price from self-engineered, self-constructed. That means there's no engineer involved and construction company involved. One company. We chose, not we, a independent 5-person board from Morgan City that was chosen by the drainage district, chose Bow Brothers, one of the biggest construction companies in Louisiana, if not the biggest. They happen to have built one of the largest pump stations in Louisiana, which is in New Orleans. And they were very successful at it. That's why we chose them. The reason why we wanted CMAR was because when you look at the contracts of a construction contract, it says, oh, you're going to bond the amount of money that that's going to take to do the job. Let's call it $6.5 million, because that's what this pump station was. But if you look at the liability against the engineer, it's only a maximum of $2 million. So in this case, they did not choose Seymour. Lee Dragna, they came in and they were giving me so much hell because I was running for mayor that I walked away from the drainage district because I was in the process of running for mayor. No way on earth did I think that they would cancel this project that was within 2 weeks of signing. Then they turned around and put it out for bid. When they put it out for bid, a company called Sea Level won the bid. I have all the pre-construction meeting documents here, everything. When they won the bid, T. Baker Smith was doing the engineering, not Sea Level. So Sea Level's bond only covered them to build exactly what was drawn by T. Baker Smith. They built it exactly to the T of what T. Baker Smith drew. So we could not hold that, well, not me, the drainage district could not hold their bond to make them fix it. They go to T. Baker Smith. I'm not involved with that. We'll get to that in a second. That Charlie was on that board. At that point, I'm not on the board anymore, right? So, so the reason why I wanted Seymour was because the bond would have covered if they misengineered it. Why they did what they did, I don't know. I was not on that board. At that point, I was the mayor, right? And you can't be appointed and elected at the same time. So nobody would give me any input, neither did I want any. For whatever reason, people believe me and Charlie and Mike are conspiring about the drainage district. I do not even talk to them about the drainage district on purpose. Only in the last week or so because of all this humbug going on, right? So, like I said, I have everything in writing right here, and when this is over, you can come up here and read it. And it's not my signatures on it. It's the other board member's signatures on it. It's not Charlie's signatures on it either. It was before he was on it. So that'll tell you something. So we had a lot of questions that came up. So, all right, so Dutch, this is how we got to the point of the pump station is built, and it's built at the wrong elevation. And it's built with the pumps that cannot elevate the water high enough to get over the levee. Okay? That was not the engineering that Bow Brothers had. That was not the first set of engineering. I know because I own it, because it's on my emails. It's because I printed it out. All right, and anybody can look at it if they want. So we fast forward a little bit, we get to the point, they're gonna do a pump test. They decided they're gonna, it's my understanding, they were supposed to move one pump at a time, test it, and then if it worked properly, they move another one. It's my understanding, Charlie, stop me if I'm wrong, they moved one pump, they had issues, 2 pumps. They had issues with it, but they thought they could solve it, so they moved the other 2 pumps, right? Am I right or wrong? Right. All right. So first off, that was the first mistake, because they broke the contract doing that. I don't know who did it. They claiming, Charlie's claiming T. Baker Smith told the contractor to do it. So that leaves the contractor in the clear at that point. So now we have pumps that don't work. But we're renting pumps to the tune of, hang on, let me get the numbers exactly right, because if not, they're just going to beat up on me about it. 800 and something thousand dollars. I'll find it here in a second. 800 and something thousand dollars it costs to rent those pumps. Am I right, Charlie? Close? All right. And with the $800,000, that wasn't it. Then they hired a consultant to come in who is the guru of all gurus. You know what? Bow Brothers had already had them come look at the pumps whenever we were doing the Seymour. And the man said what needed to be done to the pumps. Either you go through the levee, just like it is now, and it'll pump 100%, Or you go over the levee and you have to modify the pump and it's going to pump 50%, maybe on a good day. So the guy comes over and says exactly what he said the first time. We watched it pump. They filled the ditch up. I think everybody was calling City Hall saying, man, the ditches are full to the top. The water's coming in the street. Well, for whatever reason, we got to get it that high to do a test run. We start pumping the water. Typically, we would hold the ditch at -6 feet. That way it gives enough area for the water to run out of the invert of the pipe off the street. At -3, the pump started cavitating and bouncing all over and started running hot. So we can't even get it down the way it got to be at, and it was barely pumping water. So this guy's like, this is how much you're pumping, and this is what you need to do the job. So they go to the district. The district's like, man, we can't keep paying all this money for the pumps. We need to modify these pumps like the man said. Even though we diminish value of the pumping capacity, we got to do it. Am I right? All right. And then what'd you do after that? $700,000. They modified the pumps to just get 50% capacity. 2 pumps, just for 2 pumps. Remember, we had 4 pumps at 100% capacity. If the water was at a -4, 90-something thousand gallons a minute. Right now, if we can push 50,000 gallons a minute, we're doing really good, really good. So that's where the money went, because in 2024, their ad valorem tax collection was $836,598. They spent $820-something thousand on rental pumps. So how do you run the district? Oh, they turned around in their slush fund they had left. They spent the $700,000 on the 2 pumps that don't work right. So now they really have no money. So how did this happen? Nobody can answer the question of who changed the contract from the Seymour program with Bow Brothers to putting it out for bid. And I'm not gonna sit here and assume, right? That's a Parish issue, not a Morgan City issue. We have tons of questions from people, all right? So Dutch I'm hoping I'm answering some of these questions that you have out there. So now we have a situation of a storm, right? There's still rental pumps there, but they're very diminished value of pumping capacity value, because they're much smaller pumps, hydraulic pumps. They're still costing, so we'll send this paper somewhere, $18,000 a month, still today. Still renting pumps today for $18,000 a month for 2 pumps. At that time, they had 6 pumps, much bigger than those pumps. So I can't tell you, because I was not there, how the contract changed. I can tell you it don't work. I can tell you that they released the bond already from the contractor because he did nothing wrong. And I can tell you that the T. Baker Smith, according to the contract, they only on the hook for $2 million. It's a $10 million mess up. All right? So, because you have to remove and you have to replace. Now, through everybody working, Sam working, I'm working, the board's working, everybody working with the government, with the Louisiana government, and the levee district, bless their heart for helping us out. The levee district is running a project of revamping all the pump stations. How long that's going to take, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm not involved with it. They keep me, I'm kept out of it. Let's put it that way. Why? I don't know. I pump water for a living at my work. I don't know why I'm kept out of it. So, that being said, I'm going to get over to the CEA that was signed by me and Boo. So that CEA said, Boo did not want to do this. Boo's like, it costs us a lot of money to pump this water. You make $1 million a year or $800,000 a year. You should be able to pay the people or reimburse us. And this is before things got expensive with COVID, right? This is before that. So I said, look, Boo, As I'm running the district, we're changing motors, we're fixing pumps, we have a maintenance guy. I just need the extra money to be able to do all this work. Boo's like, I agree with you. Since you're doing a good job, the city will pay for, and it's in your booklet, the city will pay for pumping during the day, which I think they did before, from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the city will cut the grass in the ditches because we have a slope mower. Fine, that's great. Now there's a whole lot of other things that both sides have to do here, right? I'm just not going to read A through F, right, or whatever it is. So the parish government decided that they would like to take over the district on their own, and they would like to give the operations of the district to the CAO or COO, Paul Gouverneau, who happens to be here. And then they're gonna elect another board, but it's gonna take 6 weeks or maybe even a little bit longer to get the board running in place. So I said, well, what are we gonna do till then? Well, during the day, the city's pumping the water, so it's okay, but at night, what we're gonna do? They fired the man. He's out there pumping water himself all night because they can't really afford to hire the maintenance guys, and to do it all, they'll be over budget because they spend all their money on pumps and rentals. So I'm like, I don't think Paul, I mean, no offense, but I think Paul is more of a bean counter guy, not really a mechanic guy. No, not saying anything bad about that. I don't think he's going to go out there and pump the water, is what I'm getting at. You have 9 pumping stations. It's my understanding of a couple of those pumpers quit this week. Last 3 weeks, they lost 3. Right, so he's pumping, and Chase is pumping, and Chase is the supervisor of the pumpers, and he runs the district, did run the district. So you lost him. Man ain't gonna go out there after you just try to embarrass the hell out of him. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't think he would. So I decided as the mayor, and I'm administering this CEA as the mayor and the CEO of the city. I gave the parish a cancel letter. This CEA says you have to give 45 days notice. I gave them 45 days notice. That does not mean that we are not going to pump the water. We will not let you flood. No way. But now the parish needs to pay for it. It's not free anymore. Because the agreement was, since we're upgrading the pumps and using that money to upgrade the pumps and the engines, that was the agreement between me and Boo. They're not doing that anymore. They're getting $14 million for free. They don't need that extra money anymore. So they need to pay the city back the hundreds of thousands of dollars we spend every year because, fire department gotta leave. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year so we can use it on something more that the taxpayers of the city expect to use it on. So if the taxpayers of the city are paying an ad valorem tax to the parish drainage district of whatever millage, and then they turn it around and pay in the city a city millage, and this just goes out of general fund, but this is paid for out of general fund, and there is no line item for pumping on our budget, none, all right, then I consider that to be double taxation. Because you're already paying for it in one spot, and then you're taking it from a totally different entity, taxing authority, and paying for it again. And you're not upgrading anything because you don't have the money to do it. But now they have $14 million coming through the levy district to change the pump, so there's no reason for the city to give all that money to the drainage district. That's why I canceled it. I never said we wasn't going to pump water. I never said we wasn't going to pump grass, but we just want to be reimbursed at cost. And there's a RS statute that tells you one public entity cannot charge a profit to another public entity. You can only get reimbursed, and that's exactly what we want to do. That's all we want to do is get reimbursed. How that happens, there are 44 days now to figure that one out. If we don't come to an agreement, we still going to pump the water. We just going to send them a bill. and we're going to figure out how we enforce that bill. Right? So the rumors of we're not going to pump the water, is totally false. Nobody even said that. Now, at night, I have no idea what they're going to do. I sleep at night. My house is a +9. I'm good. All right? But it's not right to not have answers, especially the way this went down. And this is why I'm here, to give you the answers to what I told you. Do I believe that the people that got flooded for the storm have a case? Hell yeah, you got a case. I believe you got a case all day long and twice on Sunday, because they already knew that that was a failure and they did nothing about it. So, and they knew that when they adjusted those pumps and they made those pumps, they modified those pumps, they knew that they didn't work the way they're supposed to. Right? So I think you got a case. I think you got a hell of a case. Find a lawyer to do it, I don't know. Right? But there's a lot of people, millions of dollars of people, millions of dollars that were lost from pumping. And I'm trying to figure out how it's my fault. What I did wrong. Pumping district worked fine. And I don't think anybody ever complained until I become the mayor. And then you started having issues because I wasn't there running the district. This is me saying it because they put my name into it at the council. So, did that answer most of your question, Dutch? I'm pretty close. Well, we created the holding pond because we needed the dirt to build the levees. And I was able to negotiate with Hellenic to give us the dirt, the $2 million worth of dirt for free to build the levees around town, which the drainage district did. And then we ended up with the holding pond because that was the long-term plan, was to put the pump station there. So you're looking way years and years in advance to be able to accomplish things like this. So, Mr. Ray Autry sent a letter to us, to the information in the city of MC. Due to the negligence of T. Baker Smith and the St. Mary Parish Drainage District Number 2, hundreds of Morgan City residents were traumatized by flooding waters from Hurricane Francine. Many of these citizens did not have flood insurance. The pump station behind Cypress Garden has been cannibalized, and the new station on the lake was not functioning properly. This is gross negligence. This being said, many are considering class action lawsuit. As the mayor and city council representing these citizens, what is your opinion, ? And what is being done to protect us in the upcoming hurricane season? First, my opinion is you're correct. I already sent a letter to that effect. I think you have a copy of it. The second thing is, what are we doing to protect you? I can't answer that question because that's a parish issue right now. They believe that they can do better. We have to at least let them try, okay? The city will do everything it can do, but the city doesn't have the right to go rent the pumps and put them out there and do all that stuff. That's a drainage district issue, right? So, that's Mr. Ray. I hope that answered your question, and most of the stuff I said, did it answer it, Mr. Ray? Close? Well, come on up.
Okay. That being said, like I said in that letter, and I had insurance. I had FEMA. They helped me out some, but I got a whole lot out of my pocket that FEMA didn't cover, and a lot of my friends, some of my friends did not have proper insurance or insurance at all, and some of them are still trying to have their homes repaired. And you explained a lot of stuff over here, and that's fine. But I want to know what we're going to do if next week we got a hurricane coming, and we got the same situation that we had in September of last year. You guys represent us. The parish people represent us. The mayor and the council represent us. We're taxpayers that's paying taxes. We just passed a tax for this system. we want to know when we're going to get help and not have to worry about this. I can't go through this again. I'm 81 years old. I've been there 50 years. I hadn't had a drop of water in my house from flood water. And it's rough. It's rough for me, and some of my friends are hurting a whole lot more than me. So I'm just asking for help.
Well, we can ask Mr. Gouverneur to come up if he wants to come up and say what the parish is going to do. You know, that
Well,
was,
we would like to
Sam said he would like to do.
We would like to hear it.
Most of you know that I was in Baton Rouge for 20 years and did a lot of building here, including the building right outside and fixing the bridges and things that have been neglected for years. When I became the parish president, and I was going to retire, but nobody wanted the job, I said, well, I'll go do it, and ran and got elected. What I found at the parish was the former parish president, David Hannegriff, had wrecked the place. There was no money. There was no money, and that's what I found. When we got to that point, I went around, rode around some of those pumps, and they were terrible. When I was the mayor of Franklin, we built a good system there. When that occurred and the hurricane came, there was no time to do anything then. I mean, everybody was just scrambling and grabbling and do whatever they could do. Immediately after that happened, I called Gordy Dove, who's the head of the CPRA, and I said, Gordy, we need some money. We don't have money in the fund. We don't have money in the council. We don't have money anywhere. People's been flooded. It's terrible. He immediately says, look, he says, I can get you probably $12 million. I said, let's do it. In the end of the day, it was $14 million. That's enough money for us to go recalibrate, redo, and bring new pumps into the system. So that's one answer. It's not going to happen in a flash like that, but it's going to happen. We hired the engineers. We hired the engineers, and we hired the people that are doing it. And the ones that are doing it is the levee district. Called them. We had a good meeting. They have the staff to do it. They're doing the work. That's all I can tell you for right now. It's on the way. I was shocked to see what I found when I became the parish president. The parish president is not a full-time job, but I've made it a full-time effort. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. But hopefully by sometime in the middle of this year, we'll have some new pumps there. We're going to change them all out. All the ones that are just defective, all the ones that are 40 years old, 50 years old, some of them 60 years old. I was stunned when I went around right before the hurricane and saw the deterioration that was there. There was like one place had one pump instead of 4. Another place had one pump instead of 6. It was just terrible. So we went to work on that, and we're going to get it done. When I was in Baton Rouge, I brought a lot of money back here. We're bringing some more money back here now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. Realistically, when can we expect some pumps in place and a proper drainage system? Just a month or so, or 6 months? What we're looking at?
Yeah, a year.
I know.
We probably are
not this hurricane season, right?
Well, we're probably going to have some things done for this hurricane season, maybe in the middle. That's what I'm being told. I go to every meeting where they're having with the levee district. They're working really hard on it. It's going to get done. I can't give you an exact time right now.
Okay.
But there's
now the people that are damaged and worse than me, what position can these folks? They can't afford it. They can't afford attorney.
I've been through a bunch of hurricanes, and I find that FEMA has gotten a little bit better, but they're not where they should be. And that's the option to apply for FEMA. But I think the time to apply for FEMA is over. You know, you had that window to do it back then.
So the pumps are on the way.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I like to move fast.
We don't, I know how the government works, and it works really slow for me. I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna have them for hurricane season, because that's in a week, starts hurricane season. I think the question should be towards Mr. Gouvernail, because he's gonna be in charge of the district at that point. So he's walking up right now behind you.
We're going to have some.
You're not gonna have them in a month.
We're not going to have all of them, but we're going to have some.
Thank you, Mayor Dragna and the panel. I'm Paul Gouvernail. I'm the CAO for St. Mary Parish, and by charter, I was put in charge of this district when the board got removed, and it's been a total of 6 days. In those 6 days, I've learned more about drainage than I have in a lifetime. First and foremost, I want to say that the decisions that I make here and going forward are always going to be in the best interest of the citizens of Morgan City. I live in Morgan City. I have a vested interest in this problem. The problem is not just pump station number 9. The problem is every pump station in the city. Previous boards, whoever they are, I'm not pointing any fingers, but were in charge of this, and I inherited a broke system. So I've been in touch with the lead pumper, the pumpers. I've been gathering all the information. I've talked to Mike, I've talked to Lee, and we're going to keep, and Lee assured me that he would continue pumping, wasn't going to not pump the city of Morgan City. So I think together, I think we have 11 pumpers. We have 9 pump stations, 8 that actually have pumps in them. So I think we're going to be able to pump what we have. Now, in the case of a hurricane, I'm being told that through GOSEP, National Guard, FEMA, we could probably get some pumps loaned. They won't commit to it because the way I understand is when a hurricane comes, they're not sure where it's going to hit. I mean, you guys know that if you've lived here all your lives. I mean, you know that it's going to be a last-minute thing. It's not going to be it's going to be on standby for the whole season. The state, I don't think, has those resources. I think it's terrible that any home throughout the parish would get flooded. I can't imagine going through that. I live in Lakeside myself. The water came up, but I was one of the fortunate ones. So to say how we're going to move forward, by the time, I'm hoping in about 6 weeks we'll have a new board that will, be able to address the situation, and the parish will help them, and I know the city will help us too. But there's no definite answers moving forward, just that the decisions we make, will be in the best interest of the taxpayers, the people who actually pay the money to run the district.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. I know it's not the answer you want, but that's the answer you got. So I want to go back to the contract. So he is right. Pump stations are not in the greatest shape because they don't have the money to keep them there, because they wasted the money. When you pay for rental pumps and you pay to modify a pump, that's wasting money. Huh? No, but it is a waste to have to pay rental. Let's put it, that's what I meant. You didn't waste it, you were protecting the people, right? Charlie, look, he works for me, but he might not like what I have to say right now, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm the mayor and you pay me to tell you the truth, right? So the Seymour project contract bid was not to exceed, engineering and all, $6.465 million, $6,465,000. The way they bid it out, T. Baker Smith was $528,000 for engineering, and the contract was $7.159 million. Meaning, instead of spending $6.4 million, they spent $7.6 million. And they took some things out of the contract. The Seymour contract had pumps in it, temporary pumps in it at their cost to bypass the water while they were moving the pump station. So if this situation would have happened with the Seymour contractor, Bow Brothers, and they would have had a failure in the pump station, they would have had to keep renting the pumps themselves under contract. That was taken out of the bid contract with Sea Level. So that's where the money went. So also in the bid, pre-bid meeting, which is right here with everybody's signatures on this page, it says that you must supply and install 200,000 gallons per minute bypass pumps. That was never done. That was taken out the contract. But everybody else bid it to be in the contract. So let's see how much capacity we have compared to how much water 1 inch of rain is in this district compared to how much the ditches hold. So 1 inch of rain in this entire district is 12,777,000 gallons, give or take 100,000 gallons. 2 inches, so 1 hour of, we had capacity of 1.8 million gallons per minute when I left the drainage district in the entire district. That was proven because before we started any of this, the board, when I was on it, we did an internal drainage analysis with T. Baker Smith, and they certified the pumping capacities compared to the holding capacities of the ditches. And they said, if you build the levees to this height, and you make sure all your pumps are good to go, and you need to add this much capacity, you need to add 100,000 gallons per minute, meaning one pump. But we said we're going to add 2 pumps because that new pump station has 2 more holes for pumps. Then we'll put 90% of this city in an X zone. The drainage district got it in a letter from T. Baker Smith with a map that says 90% of this city will be in an X zone, meaning you don't need flood insurance. That's why Lee Dragna worked so hard for 7 years to try to fix this and to try to protect the people of the city. That's why I become the mayor, right? Because I thought it was just going to get fixed. I handed it to them. And they decided to go a different route. So our capacity with 1 inch of rain went from 90 million gallons an hour of pumping capacity to 48 million gallons an hour in pumping capacity, which you have right now. That's all you got. That's it. 1 inch of rain in the entire district is 153 million gallons. That's what it is. Any idiot can take the area of the thing and multiply it, divide it by 12, multiply it times 7.1, which is how many gallons of water is in a cubic foot. Divided by 12 gives you 1 inch. All right? So that means we're lacking 245 million gallons an hour of pumping capacity. But we have 156 million gallons of water capacity, only because we put that big old giant reservoir in. And that's the only reason. 156 million gallons of reservoir. So you're okay for a little while. You should be able, the system should be able to pump it could handle 2 inches the first hour and 1 inch an hour after that indefinitely. Right now it can handle 1 inch, 2 inches the first hour, and then a half an inch per hour after that. So if you get 6 inches of rain, it's got to come on the street. There ain't no doubt about it. It's got to be there. And the numbers don't lie. These numbers are facts, and I got the numbers off the T. Baker Smith report that everybody wanted me to have, so I had them do it. These are 100% facts by a certified company that puts a stamp on it that I don't have that stamp. So, you want to know the truth? That's the dire truth of what happened and what's going on right now. I don't believe that those pumps are available to rent, are they, Charlie? Can you rent those big pumps still? Do they have them? Yeah, so once hurricane season starts, a lot of these parishes start renting up the pumps and putting them on standby, and then there's nothing to have, right? You know, so you want to, okay, you correct it.
The people that are working on this, the levee district said that they probably somewhere in the middle of the hurricane season, that they will have some pumps available to do the work that needs to be done. I've been in office for, 40-something years. I've never failed, and when I said I did something or I was going to do something, we do it. You can count on that. It's going to happen, and that's all there is to it. I mean, we can scream and holler about it. It's happened, but going forward, we need to make sure it doesn't happen again. We ain't got the money. We're going to get it done.
Yeah, Sam's right on that one. They're going to work on it, but it's going to be a pump here and a pump there. That's the way construction is. Look, if the city had it in their budget, we go rent the pumps and put them in. But it's not in our budget to do that. Maybe we can gain budget by the parish paying us for the pumpers, and then we have enough money, then put it on the side to where we can go rent these pumps that are very expensive and very expensive to install. All right, and we could do it that way. But at this particular point in the situation we're in, there's no budget in the city for $100,000, $200,000 worth of pumps, right? So I think John Paul had his hand up. Come on up, buddy. Sam said neither does the parish have the money. So that probably wasn't the right comment, but.
My question is, so the pumpers that run the pumps during the day, that's the Public Works Department, and they go to the pumps when it's raining, and these are the guys that cut the grass, do cement work, operate equipment. And my question is, they're going to the pumps because there's really not a whole lot else they can do when it starts raining. They can go maybe maintenance equipment, Lee said, but that there's not a lot these guys are doing when it rains anyway. So to me, it always made sense. This is an agreement there was an agreement before this agreement that basically had the same thing where the city employees went to the pumps. I think that we updated this agreement, but before that there was an agreement in place that had the city employees covering the pumps during the day whenever they're at work, and then the drainage district employees. But we have a drainage district that has no money. We have a parish that has no money, and we have a city that wants to increase the cost to the drainage district by making them pay for all these services. I think it's the mayor's responsibility to make sure that we can continue to function the drainage system at the lowest cost possible, so that we can continue to provide the service. And I don't see the reason for pulling out of this agreement because some board members or people got removed from the board. My other thing that I'm listening and I'm hearing is that the reason for the flooding in your story has changed. After the hurricane, it was that we got 30-something inches of rain. The pumps were working. Everything was working. I heard we even turned down pumps. But now it's that all the pumps are broken. They couldn't maintain anything. They couldn't fix anything. So I'm hearing a different explanation or reasoning behind why we had the flooding than what I heard after the hurricane whenever we had the flooding. So I guess that's my question. What changed with the reason for flooding? Because after the hurricane, this is not what we were hearing.
Yeah, so every pump that was running. Every one of them. The problem with the big pumps, the pumps that pump the most amount of water, which is in Station 9, they don't pump water until the water gets in the street. At that point, you can never catch it. You don't catch up pumping. You only keep up if you start early. But you couldn't do it. And then a couple of them crapped out in the middle of the storm. Because I know I went out there and flooded my truck to go out there and get them started with Jeff Fontenot. I think he's here somewhere, right? We went out there in the pouring down rain to do it. and good thing we did. But it was a tremendous amount of rain, enormous amount of rain, and the pumps were running. There ain't nothing we can do about it. They were running. I can't help if all these pumps are not running to their capacity. I'm the mayor. I don't have anything to do with the parish. Like I told you before, and I told everybody before, we are going to pump the water no matter what happens. But it still costs the same amount of money whoever's pocket is coming out of. It costs $37 an hour all in for the city to have one pumper for 1 hour. Approximately, give or take $1, right, depending on how much they make. So if the city's paying for it, or the parish is paying for it, or the drainage district is paying for it, somebody's paying for it. In my mind, we're already paying the tax to the drainage district. So why should the city not be able to upgrade a park somewhere, put a new slide, put some rubber in a park somewhere on the thing, upgrade our marina, all these other things with these hundreds of thousands of dollars that they don't need to be paying? Somebody got to pay for it. It's not like it just vanishes out of thin air. I'm making up a number. Go ahead.
Hey, the taxpayers are paying for it.
Correct.
The
Twice.
taxpayers are paying for it. Well, they would maybe need to pay more. So we're saying the drainage district doesn't have any money to maintain the pumps. So now let's increase the cost to the drainage district to now have to pay for the pumpers whenever the city has pumpers, employees that can run the pumps that have nothing else to do when it rains, and they can go sit at the pump and run the pumps. But instead, let's charge the drainage district for the employees to run the pumps. To me, that doesn't make sense, and that's not looking out for the taxpayers in general, taxpayers, not just city and parish. It's increasing the cost whenever you have somebody that can go sit at these pumps, because there's really not much these guys can do, because they can't pour cement, they can't operate equipment, they can't cut grass because it's raining. So instead, because I know I got parish employees, and guess what when they do when it rains, because they don't have pump stations to sit at, they do nothing. They ride around in trucks, they go do a lot of things that is just a waste of time and money. So at least here, you have something that's beneficial to the taxpayer that they can go sit and do, and save the drainage district from having to pay a person to go run that pump during that time. And I don't see why we need to tax the drainage district whenever you have somebody that can do this, because there's nothing else they can do anyway. And the city's drainage is not just the drainage district's drainage. The internal parts of the city, the drainage there is the city's responsibility until it gets to the pump stations, which is the drainage district's responsibility. But it's a gray area. The city and the drainage district are all commingled because the drainage from the city has to get to the outside pump stations. So at the end of the day, this is a joint effort to pump the water from the city. It's not just the drainage district's responsibility. The city has to maintain the internal drainage so that it can get to the pumps and to the major drainage canals. So if the city and the drainage district isn't working in hand, then it's just going to hurt all of the taxpayers, everybody that lives in Morgan City. So, I don't see at this point pulling from this agreement and making the drainage district and the parish, who has no money, which I know, pay an additional cost whenever no one has the money to do it. And there's no rhyme or reason why we're pulling out of this. I mean, other than the city's wanting to get reimbursed for something that they've been doing for years and years at no cost.
There's a lot of things the city's been doing for years and years at no cost that we don't do anymore. It costs $350 to maintenance one lawnmower. You know how much it costs? I want my guys to be able to pour concrete slabs that go over the drainage culverts along the edges of the streets. I want them to do it when it's raining. I want them to form it up and put rebar in it and do it when it's raining. Not when the sun's shining, when they can fix the sidewalks. Don't shake your head at me. You know I'm right.
You're not pouring cement in the rain.
So you can form it up. You can get it ready to go. These things are what business people do. And this is how the city has money to spend, because we look at it as it's our money, not as, we're going to let them ride around in a truck all day and do nothing. All right? That's not what we do here in Morgan City. All right? If the parish says they can do it better, let them do it. We'll just be the backup plan. So if they fail, then we'll come in and fix it. But I've offered it to Mr. Gouvernail. I said, Mr. Gouvernail, you are the man in charge now. You need no one's permission. No one. Just like when I was the Drainage District Chairman, I needed no parish council's permission to sign that CEA. I only needed my board. He has no board. He is the sole person on that district. I told him, if you want to, this is the last time the mayor of Morgan City is going to offer this in my tenure. I've offered it multiple times and been turned down every time. If the parish wants to sign a CEA with the city and say, we will give you control of the drainage district and the tax dollars that come from it, the city will take over the drainage district. We will pump the water. We will fix the district like I did before, and you were there when we did it.
Yeah, I'm glad
right?
to take all the
You were
credit,
there when
Billy.
we did it, all right? And we will not have these problems. But the council believes that they can do it in a different way. I have no idea why or what. No one, now that man won't even call me back. He won't even pick up the phone to call me when I call him, all right? But he does, all right? Not one council member calls me. Not one to say we got a problem. I purposely told Charlie I don't want nothing to do with the Drainage District Board because then they're going to sit here and say that I'm coercing something or whatever. All I want to do is fix things. I love to fix things. I love to solve problems. That's what I love to do. I offered it to him. I don't know what he's going to do with it. He might say take it. He might not say take it. I don't have any earthly idea why he wouldn't, because to your point, we have the pumpers. We have the grass cutters to cut the grass. We have the mechanics to fix the stuff. We have the supervision to supervise them. We're already paying the people. Why would we do it to run that district? I can't answer that question. You're asking the wrong man. But if they're not going to accept what we offer them, then they need to pay for it, just like every other business in this world. And that's what's got to happen.
But this isn't business, this is government. This is taxpayers.
Business. I run this city like a business.
There's so many government services, Lee, that don't make money, that lose money.
We're
but
not
it's a
gonna
service
argue.
to the taxpayers.
We're not gonna
You
argue.
can't operate it like a private business and think I got to make a profit. The city don't. They have services, they provide services, and sometimes services make money, sometimes break even, sometimes they lose money. But you can't operate government like a private business. It don't work that way.
It's working fine right now in Morgan City.
There's
We have money.
services that
The parish has no
provide
money. The drainage
that don't
district
make
has no money. Nobody else got money but the city of Morgan City. So we're not going to get leached on all the time. That's it. No more argument.
Well, look, I got a question.
All right.
Can you, on your own, without council approval, get out of this CEA whenever the council had to give you approval, Booger's AFI approval to enter into the CEA?
As the CEO of the city, the president of the city, basically, the CEO, chief executive officer, I have the right to administer every contract that the city has operating. I am the administrator of every contract. I am administering that contract, and in that contract, it has a 45-day cancellation period. I never said we're not going to pump. I just said after 45 days, you need to pay for it now.
But to get out of an agreement that the council had to give you authority to enter into, but you have the authority on your own to get out of an agreement without going to the council.
The council gave the mayor, who was Boo at the time.
To administer it. That's different than canceling it and getting out of it.
Administrate means whatever is in that contract, you can abide by it. That is it. If the parish don't like it, they
why
can
would
show
you
me
not-
the law that says different.
Well, if you think everybody's on board with this, why would you not put this to the council to be something that they can vote on? If you feel strongly that everybody feels this way, that we should get out of this agreement, why don't you put it on the agenda and let the council vote on it so that people like me that think it's a bad idea, I can call my council person, tell them why I think it's a bad idea, and then let their vote speak for how they feel versus you doing it on your own and not allowing the people of Morgan City to have a say if we stay in this agreement or if we get out of this agreement.
Tell me what the difference is if we stay in it or we don't stay in it. We just told you on Facebook Live, with 10 Facebook Lives here, that we are never going to let the people flood. We are always going to pump it.
You want to charge them. This does not include charging the drainage district for the time when the pumpers are at the pumps, but now you're saying you're going to charge them for it.
The people elected me, they hired me to do a job. And in that job, it says you're the CEO, meaning the boss, meaning nobody tells you what to do if it's in your budget. That ain't in my budget for one thing at all. It's not in my budget, nowhere. You'll never find it in my budget. All right? And it also says, as the CEO, I administer all contracts. That's a contract. I'm administering.
We're talking about politics. Let's go back to pumping. And your original plan, which involved the moving of the pump station, as we heard of how it should have been, we also know about the drainage having a place to go and the collection pond that you designed and built. Hypothetically, if the pumps were performed as they should have been in your original plan, would we've had this issue?
You would have still had flooding in the streets, and you probably would have had water in some houses, yes, but you wouldn't have had nearly what we had.
Yeah, you gave the numbers of the levels of the water, which is engineers use cubic feet of water, cubic yards of water, whatever. But the capacity of the pumps as originally envisioned would have pumped obviously much better, but we would still have some issues in Morgan City.
Would have had some, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, come on up. Who's that? I don't have my glasses. Marcel? All right. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gouverneur.
I just want to say, Mayor Dragna, I appreciate everything the city has done for the parish and as part of the parish, and I think we've had a good working arrangement. All the problems with the pumps and the stations and all, the district boards, whatever the boards were, I'm not pointing any fingers, whoever the boards were before all of us, made all those decisions. And to me, the issue is that we are where we are now because of those issues, because of those decisions. And I believe that the guys on the boards probably made the best decision they could at the time in the best interest of the people. So I think we need to look at and moving forward and trying to get it fixed, which I think, is the main thing. Now, you alluded to the fact that I unilaterally could make a decision to allow the city to take the district over, and I don't think that's correct. For one thing, I know legal is looking at that. I know the district boundaries of the district and the city are not the same. I know there's some issues there. I have 11 council members, 8 of which voted to get rid of the board, which just kind of by default put me in charge. I think that a decision of that magnitude is going to be a council decision, not a unilateral decision on my part, who is in charge of the district for a short period of time.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I'm just stating a fact that could be done. The CEA, there is a CEA between the parish and the city. When the city took over Wyandotte, it took over fire protection for Syracusaville. And that CEA been in effect since the 70s or 80s. So there is an ability to have a CEA between the parish and the city for that. So for the people that don't know, the district goes all the way to Syracusaville, outside of city limits. That's what he's referring to. So I agree with you.
And I think it's being looked at now. Whether or not the council would agree to that, I think that would be more of a council decision, not my decision.
So the way I look at this situation is 100% political. 100, you got to agree with me. So I don't believe that people's largest asset, most people's largest asset is what? Their house. The second largest asset they own is their car for the average person. So when you play politics with people's assets, like the parish council does, everybody knows it. Hell, they watched it on TV. I didn't watch it on purpose. Then people seem to get in an uproar on their own. Not by me saying nothing, but they get in an uproar on their own. I told them before this council meeting happened, before I left to go on my cruise, that I was planning on canceling the CEA, because the agreement was, because we were upgrading the pumps and upgrading the motors, that Boo agreed to this. All right, that was the meeting of the minds behind this agreement. Because the drainage district was doing better, because it was in worse shape than it is now. Can you imagine that one? All right, then he agreed to keep footing the bill. He didn't want to. All right, that was me negotiate that with him. But now you got $14 million. What you need your money for?
And it has been turned over to the legal department to see, what the ramifications are going to be, and what the, how we need to proceed.
Right.
But from now on, I think, I think we just need to move forward and make the best decisions we can for the people of this district.
We're going to pump the water.
And I appreciate it. And you did
I've told you that every second of every meeting we had.
You did.
And we're going to pump the water. These people, the people here of this district, don't care what we do on the side for who gets paid. They just care about the water getting pumped. Am I correct here? Mostly for everybody? You just care about the water. I see everybody shaking their head. They'd like to have a new park. They'd like to have another sidewalk. They'd like to have some nicer things. But they'll deal with just getting the water pumped. But this is so political. I asked you one question when I was in the meeting. I said, they waited until I went on vacation, a 2-week cruise, to do this. And you said, oh no. The council said that the council waited till after the tax was passed to do this. So if that's not political, my partner, I don't know what else is.
Well, that's my opinion.
Your opinion carries some scope.
You're
number one in the parish.
You would have to ask the council members what the reason, and I don't believe in my heart they waited till you went on a cruise to do it. But, I get, I understand what you're saying, but the council would have to address that.
Your theory makes more sense. All right, so, look. Oh, I'm sorry, he wants to talk.
I hired Paul to be the CAO, and I trust him. What he says he's going to do, he's going to do. And also I want to say, we're just going to go get this done. I mean, what was done before is done before. We're still picking up the debris, I guess, in some places. But we're going to fix this thing, and we're just going to do it. And we're not going to squabble about it. We're going to get it done. That's it.
Yeah, no doubt. Hurricane comes, even if the city got to rent the pumps, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, Mr.
Paul,
Ray.
hold up. Mr. Paul, come back up here. First of all, yes, the board, I was on the board since 2A. You went around to all the pump stations, you said they're all in disarray, not just a couple of them.
I haven't been to all of them, but I've gotten reports, the pump reports and things.
Reports from who?
Pro Pump.
Huh?
Pro Pump.
Where you got the reports from?
The reports came from the office.
From what office?
From the drainage district office. That's what I've only done it for 6 days.
Where do we have broke pumps at?
I'm sorry?
Where do we have broke pumps at?
From what I understand, there are issues at every pump station, from the GIS survey.
Just because the pump looks bad doesn't mean it is broken. GIS only went to 4 pump stations.
So in your opinion, we have some pump stations that don't need any work, that they're working 100%?
All pump stations need love, but you get in there and saying they all in disarray, like and Mr. Sam said it too. They all bad and they pump water. Just because they look like shit don't mean they're not pumping. Okay, so I can bring you around. I can show you. There was some pictures coming around about pumps. There was pump pictures that was taken that the pumps were not running. In June, the pictures were taken. Oh, look, this was before the storm. But if they would have looked and took a panoramic video and saw the pump was not there because it was at the repair shop at home getting fixed. So it was back. It was out 2 weeks. So there's a lot of pictures going around. There's a lot of misconstrued. So if anybody wants to go look around and see the pumps and I can show you what pumps. I can tell you every pump that works and how it works and everything. So don't come up here and say we got a problem across the board. We got a good system. We do have a lot of failed areas. The reason we're here and the reason we spent so much money is not because we wasted and we did stupid things. The parish got involved. The parish got involved and helped redesign this station to a point of $2 million worth. So we don't want y'all to come back. John Paul, you was in the meetings. You was part of the problem.
Hey,
yes, sir, son.
Right here. Hey, hold up.
You know, I don't think we should be pointing fingers at anybody.
He's talking. I'm sorry. Shouldn't say that. We're $2 million to the bad we spent. Last year we had to take $190,000 from this year's budget to pay last year's budget. Last year we was $200,000 less on Avalorum. This year we put a plan together. Me and Mr. Chuck Walters put a plan. And thank y'all for one good thing the parish did is give me Chuck Walters. He's not here today because he's done, and I don't blame him. This year would have been $35,000 in the hole. Then that's with hiring a superintendent. The reason we didn't have our superintendent because while we were modifying the pumps, that the bill was so the design was so messed up and everything was done, he got hurt. Well, it was a workman's comp case for a year and a half. We couldn't afford to pay attention, much less to hire a superintendent. Mr. Sam asked me, "What's my 10-year plan?" The other day, I said, "Sam, I'm just trying to see tomorrow." You know, so that's why we're here. We don't want the parish to get involved anymore. Y'all got 3 pump stations that y'all got involved with, and all of them is under a lawsuit right now. Well, one of them's not. They got a huge lawsuit going on right here, and what happened here killed the lawsuit. The lawsuit is dead. There's no way we're going to win this lawsuit. I've been dealing with engineers and attorneys for the last 2 years over this. I went to the parish a week after he got elected. I told him the story. He don't remember me telling him the story, I don't think. I begged for help. So don't come here and say it's a problem that just started. This is a problem that's going on.
No, it's not a problem that just started.
We were behind the 8 ball. We were fighting as hard as we could.
Hey, I get it.
I know I'm not you. You're just the man that's in charge right now.
I know, and Lisa,
and you know I'll help you. I'm going to still get out of bed, and I'm still going to pump water, because that's just what I do.
And I appreciate
I'd have did it if I wouldn't have been here.
You know, like I said, previous boards made the best decision y'all could make, and which is what I'm doing for the people. I'm not saying I did anything wrong. You know, I'm not saying that y'all spent any money inappropriately. That's not what I'm saying. And I haven't seen that.
The parish is. You're not, but the parish is, and you represent the parish. So that's
you actually run the parish. He is the face of the parish. You run the parish. We all know that. So there was a lady over here that had her hand up. Oh, I'm sorry. You got a bunch of people. We're going to have to keep moving.
Good evening, everyone. I live across the tracks in the multicultural area, which is District 3, Old Brashear. And so for the hurricane, for Hurricane Francine, and I had spoken to you, Mayor, and I had spoken also to Mr. Sam at the parish. Our concern in our neighborhood, I can't talk for everybody else, but just in our neighborhood, I know, like my husband said, he's been living there all his life, and to have this much water is devastating, and I'm sure in the other areas it is as well. Well, we just had this little rain that we had last week, okay? And it started flooding again. Now, where we live, it's majority older people where we live, very quiet and peaceful neighborhood. Now, at one point, and which has nothing to do with it, but when we did the forum.
Hang on one second. We need you to ask a question.
Okay, well, that's what I'm about to say. Okay. So, at one point, we had the question asked, was there any flooding issues? And then it was said, no, it wasn't. But then I commented and said, yes, it is an issue. It definitely is an issue. For people in our district to lose that many homes at their age, like this man said, it's an issue. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we fix, for sure, where we live on Adams Street, 3rd, right in those areas. There's also 2nd Street and Barrel, those areas, we're having a serious issues, and the sewer tops are coming up and the sewage is coming up. And I call every time to have them put the tops back down to clean the roads. Thank you, Charlie, as well for, calling out the fire department, and Mike Luke, thank you as well for calling out the guys to clean up. But it becomes an environmental issue when you start seeing sewage just everywhere. So can you tell us how to fix that?
So that district pumps worked fine in that district for that big storm. It was just that much rain. That's what it was. And people think that I was lying or saying whatever. I got the pictures. I showed them on Facebook of these digital rain gauges that we had out, right? And it's my understanding digital rain gauges don't lie, but maybe they're off a few inches, but they're not off 15, 20 inches. Mm-hmm. I know that. So if it was even close to that, in that short amount of time, the pump system is not designed for that. That pump system in that area was built in way before the other pump stations were built. And I think its capacity is a little bit lower than it should be, but the pumps were working. The other day when it rained, it was over 2 inches in 20 minutes. That's equal to 4.5 to 5 inches in 1 hour. No pump station keeps up with that. There is none that will keep up with that. But I think that there needs to be, we've run cameras in the pipes to see if they plugged, and they're not. The sewer system, the problem is once it gets above the street, it goes and inundates the sewer system, and that's what happens. That's how the water flows that way. It pushes the sewer out the system. It's just the way that system was designed back in 1918 something, right? You're talking about behind the tracks, right, by your house?
Yes, across the tracks, right near our home.
On Adams Street.
It was fixed at the corner of 2nd and Adams Street by my mother-in-law's house.
Yeah.
We've never had any issues, and once it was fixed, now we're starting to have even more issues along the way. Adams and 3rd, it's really bad, all the way to the back of the extra wall that we have, the extra barrier that we have, and it's literally raw sewage. And I have a playground that's right next door to my home as well.
I've asked the question 10 times because you called me 10 times, and I get the same answer.
Okay.
Hey, it's the water is high in the street, and it's going in the drain covers, the sewer covers, and it's overflowing the sewer system is what it is. I guess we could look at it a little bit more. Maybe we'll do some type of analysis on it like we did with,
yes. And also, and that's going to also be Barrel and 2nd Street. Those areas as well. It's an issue because now they're flooding again. So, and I'm sharing this because these are the issues that I have, that I hear and come to me and complain about. And so, I mean, what do we do to fix it? Something has to be done,
We'll try to do some type of analysis on it.
If you don't mind.
Sam says he's got some plan on it, but it's internal drainage. I don't know what he can do about it, but it's internal drainage. It's pipes, Sam. Here, Sam.
Ma'am, the fact is that where you live and where everybody lives in Morgan City, also in Bayou Vista, the places have sunk more than 2 feet in the last number of years. You got to remember, you've had thousands of years before there was any people here. Mississippi River came through here, came through the Atchafalaya. It overflowed into Berwick. It overflowed into Bayou Vista. That's part of the problem. Over in Franklin, we measured it. We went down a foot, 1.4 feet. I mean, we are a parish that's sinking. And each time that we go through a cycle like that, we need to go back and check and say, well, how far did we sink today? And what we're going to do about it now. I think we are in the process, or having to be in the process, of fixing that, doing protection, and even lifting some homes. That's something that's going to come in the next few years, I do believe. I want to say this about Charlie. Charlie and I talked several times. Charlie worked his butt off. I'm telling you, he did. I'm sorry that he's not on the board anymore. I wasn't in charge of that. I'm not in charge of that. That's the parish council's decision. They made a decision. We react to those decisions. But I wanted to say that, and I wanted to give you that insight. This parish is sinking. So is Lafourche and the other ones. And that's what we also have to address for the long run.
Thank you, Sam.
Back on your issue with that's a drainage issue, but not just a drainage issue. That rain we had the other day, that was May 7th. It was 2.5 inches, like you said, in 20 minutes. We also had power outages. Our generator failed.
Right.
It was everything that could happen in that neighborhood happened in that neighborhood. The drainage pumps were running fine, but the sewer lifts, the master station, and that's what happened. Yeah, it was a mess. I know you've been having severe issues back there. We have quite a few. Our sewer system was put in the 20s, and we hadn't put a new sewer system in since probably the 50s, I don't think. So we do have a bad sewer system. It's old. We've been begging for money. We got a lot of grants out there trying to do that, and that's some of that area. I know that doesn't fix your problem immediately, but we do know about it, and we got alerts on about 10 people got alerts on the phone when they got any sewer problem has it wakes them up and they get there pretty quick. But sometimes it's just Mother Nature's gives us a little more to handle. I do apologize and call me anytime. Somebody back there.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Anything
you're
else?
fine. That was it. We're just trying to get some answers of what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So over here, you have somebody first, though, before they raise their hand. We're going to get you. We stay all night if we got to.
Hi, I heard y'all bring up Bayou Vista. So Bayou Vista is an unincorporated area, and so therefore the parish is supposed to deal with it. I haven't seen much being dealt with Bayou Vista. We still have the same lawyer.
Hold up a second. We Morgan City.
Right, well, I'm getting there. We still have the same lawyer from the original lawsuit
I
in
need
2012.
a question.
Okay, so when that happens, what is the benefit of the parish taking over the city of Morgan City when not much has been done for the unincorporated area that the parish is already in charge of?
That's a parish question. Let me answer.
Yes, sir.
As you know, I haven't been the parish president for very long.
I understand.
But what we're going to do, we're going to hire an engineer to go and find out how far it's sunk there and what we can do about it in the future.
So if that hasn't been done in Bayou Vista thus far,
It's never been done.
correct, being unincorporated, that means we're in parish care, right?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have a decent drainage district in Morgan City that has been handling what needs to be handled. What is the parish council going to do differently in Morgan City than what's already being done to take the power away from people? They're going to do differently to take that power away from the advantage of the Morgan City people to help them.
Ma'am, I'm not on the parish council. I'm the parish president.
Correct,
I
but
don't
you
know.
represent the parish council.
Oh, I don't represent all of them, no. I represent me and what I do.
Okay, so my next question would be, if the people of Morgan City disagree with how their council members voted, then how would they address that issue?
The only thing you can do is vote the people out.
Okay.
There's nothing else you can do. There's no recourse here. So the guy in the orange shirt was next? Well, we'll get both of them. They're going to come. Come on.
Up at Station 9, is that the one that's by the Brownell homes they keep talking about?
The new one all the way out by the lake.
Okay, now it's by the park, but it used to be,
That was Station 3, a smaller version of it.
but they closed that one down, right?
They took the pumps out, yes.
But that station worked there for 60 years and looked like the one they put at the end of the drainage canal, they elevated it.
It's elevated higher because they misread the gauge whenever they put it in. Yeah.
And
That was
the
a
parish?
T. Baker Smith.
Yeah, hard
The
by the
engineer.
parish. Hard by the parish?
Hired by the parish, yeah.
Right, because I lived in that area my whole life, and I live on the other side of town. But it seemed like the pumping station that was there did its job forever.
It did, just to create a lower BFE in the city with the drainage analysis, we needed 2 more pumps. So we said, there's not enough room to put 2 more pumps right there. So let's just move the pump station by the lake in this big, gigantic, nice ditch pond we made, right? And put 2 more pumps, have 6 instead of 4. That was the whole plan. Right. That was the only reason to do that. And we already had the money bonded. The pump station you talk about was built in 2006.
Right.
Right? Huh? No, the first one, 3 was built in 2006. 2006.
Go back to 2006. That station was supposed to be where the new station was. They didn't have enough money. Parish got involved in that one actually too, and said, hey, let's put it right here. So we're building it again 20 years later. So
right,
this is true.
All the water right there stays staggered.
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, we do have some drain, like and you talk about long peanuts, but they got we put a weir in the front, we put a weir in the back.
Yeah,
so
the water can get out, but it is stagnant. Yeah, it is stagnant.
All that water stays stagnant now because it has to get to an elevation to get to the suction.
That's correct.
That's what's happening back here in Cypress Gardens. That's why none of that can get, that water's not getting out.
Yeah, the water's got to be much lower on the other side of Highway 70 for that water to get through.
It was a district project. The parish just kind of got involved when they were doing the thing. It was it was hired by the district. It wasn't fully the parish. I mean, the parish did. That was when the whole consolidation, and that's when all that got changed. So it was a district project.
No, because if that don't get fixed, we don't have a chance.
Nope. You're right. But there's a plan in place with the levee district to fix that. I haven't seen that plan. I will go to them tomorrow to look at the plan and see what it is.
And on another note, I heard the lady just now that had some questions from Parish Street. My daddy lived back there forever. And when the river gets to a certain elevation, 3 weeks ago it was at that elevation, the water does come back into the drains in town, and it does seep back into the sewage where it bubbles.
Yeah.
The water's starting to seed now, though.
Yeah, it's the water is, the ground level of water is the issue over there.
Right.
And all the pipes, they probably leak a little bit here and there, and before you know it,
all the road usually drain into the river, most of them.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have another person. Come on. Sorry you had to wait.
So basically, I've been living in Morgan City 60 years. I'm 63 right now. And, okay. I've been living here for 63 years. My parents bought their house in Elliott subdivision like around 73. And that's when they got water in the house the very first time. And back in 73, 74, back then it was basically because of a lack of turning the pumps on ahead of time. So now we go 50 years down the line, and we in 2024 basically, and now we get water in the house again. I think it's really pretty ridiculous when, like y'all said, y'all spent $7 million on pumps, and we can't do no better than this. This is really ridiculous. And I got an 88-year-old mama that had water in the house, and I got to deal with the problem. So, and then, fortunately for her, she had insurance, and I got to tell you, her insurance is out the box. If y'all knew what she had to pay for her insurance, y'all all like die. Most people don't pay that much money in homeowners insurance. So I think that's really kind of pitiful. And then y'all talking about people manning these pumps and all that. You don't need to have men man these pumps right now. You don't have a pumping situation. You don't have pumps to get the water out. I mean,
we do have the pumps.
People.
We got the pumps.
Don't.
Some of them just don't work right.
They don't work. Y'all just said that. They don't work.
They don't work right.
They don't work. And you just said we're going to have another problem. Everybody's worried about a hurricane. It ain't just a hurricane. Right after that hurricane and right after my mama had her house fixed and all that, she had water all the way up to the door again. No hurricane, just rain. And then y'all talking about 30 inches of rain. We did not have 30 inches of rain. I actually monitored it, and myself and my neighbor, we collected 10 inches of rain that whole night for that hurricane. That is no rain. 10 inches is nothing. So that means to tell me these pumps are terrible.
You got a rain gauge in
There's
your
no way
house?
we should have had.
You got a rain gauge? You got a rain gauge?
Huh? I got a rain gauge at my house.
What type of rain gauge you got?
Well, you can go to Oakwest all the way and then rain gauge.
And you got 10 inches of rain the day of Francine.
That's right.
Where do you live at? Where do you live?
Country Club.
Country Club.
That's
Okay.
right.
You live in Burbank? You don't live in Burbank. You don't live in Morgan City.
We talking about Morgan City.
Yeah, but I'm the one dealing with the house.
You don't, yeah, but you got 10 inches in Burbank.
Huh?
There was more than 10 inches in Morgan
Well, let me
City.
tell you, my house.
Way more than 10 inches in Morgan City.
My
Yes.
house and my mom's house is 2 miles apart.
Yes.
Don't tell me there was that much.
I've been doing this for 6 years. In fact, the other day, May 7th.
Okay.
Morgan, no. My house, I had 2.5 inches. My father-in-law's house on State, he had 2 inches. A buddy of mine's house in Lakeside had 1.5 inches, and somebody across the track had 2 inches. So rain doesn't, 2 miles away, that's a lifetime. 3 months ago, there was 8 inches in a million. We didn't get a drop of rain in Morgan City.
In the beginning, y'all said that it was 30 inches of rain.
It was more than 10 inches of rain.
That's what the rain
It was way
gauge
more
said.
than 10 inches of rain.
How much?
I said it was way more than 10. 30. So we had somebody's rain gauge that reported 32 inches. It might have been high. I'm not saying we had 32, but 20 inches of rain in 8 hours is a lot of damn rain.
I understand that.
But 10 inches.
10 inches with a new system.
It wasn't 10 inches of rain. No station can handle the rain we got for Francine.
We didn't get no rain.
For Francine?
We didn't hardly get no rain, dude.
Where you was at?
No. Don't start to argue. Trust me, everybody else knows we had rain. It's okay. No argument. No argument. That's it.
Yeah.
We didn't have much rain at all.
So listen, you need to contact Mr. Paul tomorrow, and you need to have a conversation with him because those pumps belong to him.
Where's your mother? Where your mom lives?
Corner Hickory Maple.
That's exactly where the rain gauge was at.
Yeah. Then we had more than 10 inches.
Once the water gets to the sidewalk, it's inch for inch of rain to elevation.
30 inches, that ain't no way, dude. There can't be that much difference between the 2 mile stretch.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Give me your number. I'll send you pictures of multiple rain gauges when it starts raining.
We have plenty of data on that.
Yeah.
Plenty. All right.
I just, look, so I don't understand how in 50 years with a whole new system that everybody's
It's not a whole new system, it's broken.
We don't have a whole system.
It's broken.
Whose job is it to fix it?
We don't have a whole system. We maintaining the
Whose job is it
system.
to keep all this working?
It's the T. Baker Smith. They misengineered it. There's nothing you can do about it right now. They're in a lawsuit. You know how lawyers, all this could go on for years.
Okay, so when y'all get the money and y'all win the lawsuit, what about the people that's the one that suffered? Like me?
No.
And right here? Who pays us?
I think you got a legitimate argument.
Who's gonna buy the house that we want to sell?
We're gonna fix the one
Yeah, you talking about fixing, but y'all worried about hurricane season. I'm worried about just another rain season.
This is true.
Well, this is forever. When we fix it,
He's not worried about then, he's worried about now.
Look, my mom's 88 years old. She ain't gonna live another 10 years. And y'all talking about it might take several years to get this done. That's too long. Everybody's under the gun right now.
We understand that. Trust me, we understand that. And I worry about rain every day of my life. And I don't care about just hurricane. That's the problem. Everybody worries about just a hurricane. When a hurricane comes, everybody, what's the problem? I've been telling y'all that for 5 years. We got a problem. We got more. It all takes money. Since COVID, the price. I don't want to blame it on COVID, but since COVID, the cost of some of these pumps we're dealing with went from $100,000 to $250,000.
So those pumps that's behind Marquis Manor, between Marquis Manor and
yes,
and Cypress Gardens, do they have any pumping system in it?
There's 2 natural gas pumps and 1 electric pump there. Yes.
Do they work?
If you want to say they don't work, there's 2 natural gas pumps and 1 electric pump there. There's 2 old natural gas pumps that haven't been running for years because they were actually pulled out of service because the master plan was supposed to go under the highway and double the culvert to where that station was actually coming out altogether because they was having enough flow to go. That all got changed since then, so now we're going back and add pumps back to 4.
And that's what's the problem with LA subdivision. They don't have pumps to get the water out. You know,
Well,
you can't get it out.
No.
So the city has no play in this because we're told that they don't want us to do it. They don't want to give us the district. The parish council told us that. We'll fix it if we have control of it. We can fix it. I fixed it already one time. You didn't have any problems 6 years ago, did you?
No, we had
10 years ago, you had no problems. You know why?
problems in 50 years.
You know why? Because I was running the district.
No, 50 years.
For 7 or 8.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 50 years.
But the weather patterns are different now than they used to be. They're not the same.
What's different? I'm saying that we don't have a pumping system and nobody's taking care of these pumps properly.
We are taking care of these pumps. It costs a whole lot more money to take care of. What's your truck cost today?
Huh?
You bought a new truck lately?
Don't start.
Huh?
The main 4 pumps.
The cost of everything goes up.
The main 4 pumps that pump 25% of the water in the town don't pump. That's the problem. That's an engineering problem that was changed by the parish.
Okay.
They put their 2 cents in to change that. You need to talk to that man, the bald-headed guy over there. He's in charge of it.
Now.
Not the city.
The last 7 days he's in charge.
I'm just telling you, we can't sit here all day and do this, but this is not a city issue.
Everybody's under the gun right now.
Well, this is true, 100%.
And y'all don't have a fix. And y'all don't have a fix no time soon. Sir?
Well, the city has 0 control.
Somebody got to have some control.
That man right there got control. That's what I'm telling you. This man has no power at all.
When is it going to be fixed? What you call a while? That's the problem. We can't wait a year. So.
I suggest you call your parish council members, and I suggest that you tear into them for a little while and let them know how y'all feel instead of coming to me. I'm just educating you on what I have here.
We agree with you 100%. We agree with you. We're not disagreeing with you.
You agree the system don't work.
We didn't.
Those pumps
That's the first thing we got up there and said, that we got a problem. Did we not get up here and say we got a problem? We know we got a problem.
But then you're talking about who's going to be turning these pumps on and making sure they're running and all. If you don't have the pumps, you ain't got to have nobody.
We got pumps.
We got pumps. How do you think the water gets out the town? We just can't get it out quickly because the biggest pumps in the whole city don't work right. They don't work right. They're misengineered, and the whole thing is misengineered.
I agree.
Okay.
But we suffered.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why we're here today, to tell the facts behind what's going on. Because you're not going to get it from the other end, I guarantee you that. Anybody, John Paul? Oh, you got somebody back there too. Oh, Jeffrey?
I just want to clarify what happened whenever they got the cost estimates to do the pump station. The parish was not involved at all in any of the engineering design, except until they got the cost estimates to build the pump station. And then they started looking at things that they could pull out, which was some of the dirt hauling and things like that. That was the only things changed. None of the design. The only time parish got involved was whenever they said they needed more money to do the project. The parish had no say. I was public works director. I had no say. I went to none of those meetings whenever they agreed on the design to change it going over the levees versus through the levees. The parish had no say in any of that design work. The only time the parish got involved is whenever we went sit at a meeting when T. Baker Smith and the contractor trying to see if we can get the cost estimate to meet the money available. And then the parish had also ponied up additional funds. Paul can attest to that. The parish had given additional funds to help get the station built. But as far as the design of the pump station, the drainage district chose that. Now, I'm not saying if it was Charlie Boy, it might have been Hanko, whoever, but the parish government did not have any say in that. It was the drainage district board members that made decisions or gave the okay based on the engineer's suggestions on how to build it. The parish government never had any say in the design of the pump station, except for when it got to the end to help make it happen, we give it money to be able to have enough funds available to build the pump station. And I just want to clarify that because that's not what's being said.
Well, so just to let everybody know who this is John Paul Berg, and he used to be in Gouverneur's position at the parish. I just want to let everybody know that in case somebody don't know you. All right? So do you believe for 1 minute that Hanko Hoffpower decided to change on his own? He was on the board, right? So you believe that he had, for 1 minute, do you believe that Hanko Hoffpower decided on his own to give up the protection of Seymour to go out for bid? Do you believe that? And who was at every single meeting of that drainage district? Don't lie either.
Yeah,
Hannah Griff and Duhon, both of them were at that same meeting. So you can't tell me that the pressure wasn't put on them to cancel the Seymour project and pay them $35,000 for the engineering and change it over to a public bid.
My understanding of what happened is that they got the cost estimate from Bow Brothers, and it was like $7 or $8 million.
$6.4 million.
It was more money than it was available. So then the option was either from my understanding, because I was on the board whenever we started the Seymour program, was that the contractor and the engineer, which was T. Baker Smith, worked together to come up with a design. And that was the whole point of it. The engineer and the contractor worked together, which the engineer was picked by the drainage district to use T. Baker Smith. And they worked together to come up with a design. And then at the end, Bow Brothers gives you a price that they can build it. And ideally, they'll be able to be the cheaper contractor because they have the insight on all the things they can do to keep the cost down to build it because they helped with the design. But they gave their price, and the price was more than the money available. So the drainage district chose to be able to cancel the Seymour thing, tell them, look, we paying y'all for y'all time and effort, but we're going to go out for bid to see if we can get a more competitive price to build a pump station. They went out, got prices to build a pump station. The price still came in higher than what they had available. So then they chose to go with the lowest bidder, which was Sea Level, and work with them to see if they could get the cost down even more to come within the money available to build the pump station. And some of those things that they took out was dirt hauling, and I forget some other things. Charlie, he knows all the things that we pulled out to bring costs down, but none of it was design changes. It was all just things that you could pull out, just like if you're working with a contractor, like, look, hey, don't worry about painting the walls, I'm gonna paint the walls. Well, some of that was dirt hauling and things like that. The parish then also offered to help with that dirt hauling. And I wrote up a proposal to be able to bring parish trucks. Now, I don't know if it would have worked because I know the conditions back there were different than what we thought. It was really muddy and nasty back there. But the parish had offered with parish dump trucks to haul that dirt, and we were going to use it to put at the landfill, but they didn't want it. Hellenic or somebody didn't want to give up the dirt, but the parish was going to do it at no cost because the repayment was going to be the dirt that we were going to get to use to cover garbage at the landfill. The drainage district did not take us up on that offer, but we did offer to do that, and that was going to be a $450,000 savings on the project. Instead, the drainage district used an operator and their own excavator to dig that out. We were going to move the parish excavator over there to dig the dirt, and we used parish trucks to haul that out of there, and we were going to use it at the landfill. That was offered to keep that cost down. The drainage district didn't take us up on that, but that's the only things we got involved in. Other than that, we didn't have any say in the design or anything to do with the design of the pump station.
Well, it's not that we didn't take y'all up on it. It was never a done deal. The landowner didn't agree to it, and that was after all the money was poured out. I'm not going to sit here and throw names and all that, but even the meeting y'all had to do all that, board was not involved. There was other people involved in the thing. You know there was, as much as I know there was. We're just going to end it at that right there.
Because we had met.
We're going to end it at that right now. You know who was involved. There was a lot of people involved, and you know who was all involved, and we're not going to argue about that right here in public.
Stop. So I was actually negotiating with Bow Brothers to pull the same things out of that contract. And it would have been $1 million difference. $1 million difference. But the amount of pressure that was being put on my campaign for mayor by the parish government people was so great, I had to walk away from it because I figured I was better off being the mayor of Morgan City than the drainage district, and I handed it to them. It's all right here. I gave it to them on a silver platter, and they just people don't like me as political. It is what it is. But to say that they had no say-so in it is absurd. So, but we're not going to argue about it. So, yes, sir.
Can I ask you, the pumps they got in the new pumping station?
They were 52-inch Cascade pumps, and they're now 48-inch dual prop Cascade pumps.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah, about 50% capacity. Got another guy?
Mr. Mayor, good afternoon. Citizens of Morgan City, how y'all doing? At the end of the day, right, we can go back and forth about what happened in the past. None of that's going to change, right? All the citizens want to know is what's the way ahead.
I didn't hear you say it again.
All the citizens, I think, want to know what's the way ahead. The way ahead.
No, the way ahead. The way ahead. He's saying, what is the way ahead? The path forward, right?
Yes.
The path forward. The path forward is to put these new pumps in that they're already dedicated $14 million to.
Okay.
Right? That's a long-term fix. The short-term fix, you got to talk to the man over there.
Okay.
Right? The city will not stop pumping water. I'll never stop saying that. We will never stop pumping water. But the city has no control if the pumps don't work correctly.
Okay.
On the parish's behalf, we recognize the problem. We got the money. We got some good people organizing it. It'll take a year and a half, but it should be done and it should be workable.
Okay, so, I mean, that's the way ahead. So I think they want to know what the timeline is, too. That's important to people because, again, you can't answer that because you're, you know.
I can kind of answer that because I've been talking to the levy board. I'm not supposed to talk to the levy board because the parish don't like me, but I've been talking to them because I'm the one that's been living this for 7 years. Station 4 behind Marquee Manor, they awarded the job on the equipment. It's on order. I mean, I've been dealing with the pump company they're buying from for 7 years, so he's going to do as best he can. 6 months would be, I mean, if they get there before 6 months, I'll be shocked, because lead time on those pumps is probably 10 to 12 months. But the guy knows who's in a bind, and he's going to work his tail off to get them as quick as he can. So you should see something change. They are going to go overhaul some of the engines, the 2 engines that we keep at 4 in the next couple of weeks. That's where we can run them through hurricane season and not worry about the engines. Hopefully the pumps last the hurricane season. They should be fine. I mean, it's some old, you think about this old stuff, it lasts. The stuff we put in right now, in 20 years we're going to be fixing this, changing this stuff out again. So when people say old systems, I mean, hell, look at Sam, he's young chicken, he's still kicking. So us young guys got to get changed out quick.
Okay, what about the other areas? The
other areas, that's the next place they're going is Syracuseville, Station 8.
Okay.
There is a pump that's been out for 20 plus years at Station 8. They go and put 3 new pumps over there. I think they're working on that right now. That'll probably be, I'm going to say it's going to be a year before you see something there. They're going to have to do a little bit of ditch digging. Actually, they did a bunch of ditch digging right after the storm and improve all that area, but they still got to dig some more to get the water there, because the water that goes there is Wyandotte, Syracuseville, and Lakeside when the barge is closed. It takes a little while for the water to get there, so they got to do a lot more. That station is just not going to save Lakeside. Just if you could put 100 pumps in there. Lakeside's still going to have an issue because the water got to go a long ways. The other station is 6 behind the Victor 2 fire station. That's one that they said is all decapitated. There's 2 36 hydraulic pumps in that. When Lee and Jean Paul and Jordan was on the board, they put a nice system in there that pumps great. But there is some old pumps next to those that they're putting 2 new pumps there. I'm gonna say probably 8 to 10 months on that station. Station 9, the big $10 million paperweight out there. That's an issue because it's hard to design. There's not a pump that's going to work in there, so they've been talking to many pump companies, and I think they got a good. I don't know their last go, but I think they got a good plan on the thing. I'm gonna say that'll be a year before that station is fixed. It will run like it is. The two small pumps run. They pump a lot of water. the two big pumps, I call them Armageddon pumps. The only time we can kick them on is when we get an elevation -3. And -3, you got about 2 inches of water on David Drive. And by the fire station, you got about 1 inch of water on Victor 2 right there. The other station, I think that's all the stations. So that's the stations that they're working on. That's the only stations that, not only stations have problems, but that's the stations that they felt was the biggest fail was those few stations. And that was just their opinion. Where they go. Station across the track, it's an old station, but I'll take that station over any station because we'll never have problems with that station. I don't want to say that, but we got. No, it's an old station. It does have stuff does break. Front Street's a nightmare because it's a small station. It can pump a lot of water, but the reservoir is about the size of this table. It does need some improvement, but that's the other 7 by Oceaneering works like a charm. If you look at it, it don't look like a charm. It looks like a broke charm, but it works. Our plan was to go do some modification in there, not modification, just some updating some of that stuff there. We were trying to automate because we didn't have a lot of automation, and we were trying to do some automation and a SCADA system which would report to everybody's phone to say when the pumps are running or not running. You calculate rainfall. We spent a good bit of money on that the last few years. Obviously, we put that all on hold because we didn't have the extra money to do that. And the automatic system doesn't stop your pumper from going. It just gives that pumper a little downtime, not a downtime, reaction time. Because, I got chewed out, my pumpers get chewed out. My guys I don't know how, show of hands, who wants to go in the middle of a hurricane, leave their wife and kids and go sit in a tin building that was built in the 40s.
For $15 an hour.
And we give you an ice chest and some bread and some ham. Not many people are going to do that. And then it happens in the middle of the night. They got one guy start calling around, and it takes a little while for it. There's human factor involved. Some of these pumpers, some people think these pumpers are machines, and they talk like they treat them like crap. These are human beings that are getting out there, risking their life to go save people in this room. And a lot of people don't care and think they're just a piece and don't appreciate what they do. Sometimes they don't answer the phone, they sleeping. I don't know, but it does happen. We ain't Superman out there. We try to be, but we're not Superman out there. So hope that kind of answers your question.
No, it does.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And moving forward, can someone from the city, Mr. Mayor, and your staff provide the citizens with an update as these pumps get fixed or repairs happen, so they can kind of feel a little more at ease about what's going on, even though I know your hands are tied with certain things, but an update would help for these folks.
I think the parish is going to, Mr. Sam's going to update, and we involved, we're going to know, and recognize everybody, but there's a few people I talk to on a regular basis about this, and I'm gonna tell. It's gonna be on Facebook. It'll be known that as processes go ahead. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say, hey, Mr. Ray, we're gonna have a pump in your backyard in the middle of hurricane season.
No.
I know. I need to answer that question earlier. But granted, I think if I was getting on the phone probably this week to start talking to pump people to put some pumps on reserve for when a hurricane comes, because GoSep helps you after the fact. They're not coming save you. They're not coming prevent it. They come and save you. And nothing about it. They got a couple million people they got to worry about. So I'm not talking bad about it in no way. But we would take and I'd get a bunch of pumps on first refusal and be, hey, when they would pump it, I would put. And that's kind of how with these pumps. I got the question the other day, well, who authorized these pump rentals? There was a hurricane in the Gulf, and we got pumps don't work. There ain't no authorization. I don't have time to go ask the board. Somebody got to make a decision. In fact, Mr. Don was on the board with Mr. Don Hicks. We were right there like, we need pumps. He said, you're damn right we need pumps. We got to get pumps. You can't wait till the meeting at the end of the month, because by the time the end of the month, the rainfall doesn't happen. So that's hopefully, Mr. Paul, I hope you're getting some pumps on reserve just to kind of, and there's a couple pump guys that saved my life many times, so that's where the immediate plan should be.
So updates will be provided.
As pumps gets fixed, absolutely, there will be updates. I mean, I'm gonna know when stuff is. I'll make sure we update some kind of way.
Once a month, we need to send out an update on our Facebook page about what was done, what has changed per station. Once a month.
Sounds
right.
Good. Thank you.
We'll do that. I promise you, we'll do that.
Bryce, the 1 minute version, Bryce. We got 1 minute.
I got a question. So, can you explain to me the hierarchy of how all this works? Like the pumping station 2 and the district 2 and the city and the chamber and the parish and, you know, I live in Morgan City, it rains, I want the water out. So it looks like it's not under control in Morgan City.
Absolutely not. It is a parish board, and the parish council has made it clear that it's a parish board.
So how do we change that?
You ask him.
There's going to be a thing put on the ballot to make the parish president a full-time parish president, which I'm not currently. The parish council is always going to be the parish council. If you don't like what they do in the next election, you vote them out. If you like what they're doing, vote them in.
So how did we get in a position that Morgan City lost control to the parish of our water?
I don't, it's always been, the drainage district has always been a parish thing. It's never been a Morgan City thing. It was cooperative. They did things along inside the city limits and all. But each time we have something like this, it bears for us to take some time to study it and say, you know what, can this be done better? And we can learn from that. And I think after we fix this thing, and we're going to have some of it done for this hurricane season, but not all of it, including the big one. But at some point, we'll have to then all get together and say, okay, what went right, what went wrong, and what are we going to do now?
So we need to start a campaign to get control of our water is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bryce, unfortunately, legally, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot take it from the parish because in the state statute, the state gives the power to the parish only to issue the tax for drainage district. You follow me? The city cannot issue that same tax for the drainage district. That's why the city offered to take over the operations of it only. They still own it, the operations and responsibility of it, in trade for the tax money that they get from the O&M. And then we have full control of it. That is the only option here. There is no other option to take the control of the district. That's the God's honest truth. I've been working on it for 3 years, and that's all I can find.
Really quick, Mayor and Mr. Sam, if we can go in, not just Facebook, if you don't mind. There are a lot of older people who don't have Facebook. Even like today, for the meeting today, a lot of people weren't aware. Literally had to go house to house to kind of spread the word around. If we can use cell phones to kind of, like when we get alerts for FEMA and stuff like that in bad weather, maybe send out an alert just to kind of update us, parish-wide, city-wide. Update the text, send us a text or something. Call, for those who don't have cell phones, maybe call the homes of the elderly, because those are the ones who are being left out, and it's very, very important for us.
Paul, we can do that. We can do that
through the council.
Through the Council on Aging, we can do that.
Yes, we can do it.
I can ask.
Is somebody?
That's fine. That's fine. We just need it. Thank you. Thank you.
Laura Meadows is still here. You want to say something, Laura? So, I forgot all about Laura. I'm sorry. So Laura is here for Senator Allen. Senator Allen called me and said, I don't have a question, but I do have a concern. Would you allow, I'm sorry for waiting this long. You walked to the back and I didn't see you. So I was supposed to let her go at the beginning so she can leave. Senator Allen is concerned, and he is in session right now fighting for us. So I agreed to let her come up and read a statement from Senator Allen.
Thank you, Mayor. And I apologize, but this really isn't toward y'all. This is really toward y'all. And so the senator wanted me to read a statement for the citizens. And it says, I am aware of the recent changes involving the dismissal of the board of the Consolidated Gravity Drainage District Number 2 and the shift of operation and maintenance responsibilities to the St. Mary Parish government. Although my office does not have oversight of this issue, as a citizen, I hope that the responsibility of the newly appointed board ultimately ends up with the most capable entity so that they can provide the best service for our community. We live in an area with unique drainage problems due to our elevation, land subsidence, and the amount of pumps required to keep our water out. My office has helped secure millions of dollars for drainage and pump replacements and will continue to fight for more every year. I remain committed to working with local and state partners to ensure that those funds are spent responsibly and that the needs of the community are met. And I am telling you, he's fighting like hell in Baton Rouge to get us our pumps and our money and everything that we need to be whole for St. Mary Parish. We're trying. Thank you, Mayor.
Jeff, you had something? You wanted to say something, Jeff? All right. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be anyway. Question. I think this meeting was good. I think it was great. Oh, okay.
The question I have for the board, I think there's a misconception on the monies that are spent for pumping. I would like to know, to clear the air, what monies the city spends for pumping. Because I know the question is, okay, well, the parish gotta let the city pump for free. I don't read them out taxes when I get them, I just pay them. As a citizen of the city of Morgan City, how much taxes do I pay for drainage to the city? How much tax do I pay for the parish?
Well, you're not supposed to pay any drainage tax to the city. Okay. But you do. Okay. Inadvertently. What you pay to the parish depends on how much your house is worth. It's ad valorem tax, right? I think it's 5 point something mils. 16 mils. So here's something to put in perspective. For the pumping district, you're paying 16 mils total. That's with the bond for the pump station too. Debt service, they call it. At the city, what the city lives off of is 16 mils, give or take a little bit. That's what the city lives off of. So how is the city supposed to pay for the drainage when the drainage gets the same amount of money?
Maybe I didn't hear earlier. How much do you estimate to spend a year for the city employees to go out there and do above and beyond what they do?
About 300 grand.
So like, I think that I just wanted that out there. That way people could be clear on how much money you're talking to get people out there to go do it.
It just depends on how much rain you have that year. It could be 250, it could be 400, anywhere in between. That's grass cutting too, though. That's cutting the grass with the long reach tractor.
That's the only question I had.
Anybody else? That's it?
I do want to say one thing. Miss Laura, I don't know, all of y'all know Robert. I was obviously not here for the hurricane, but Robert lives in Jeanerette, and he was here the whole night of the hurricane. He was he almost got killed that night in Hurricane. If Shaft would have been out there, he'd have fell overboard and drowned in the lake, setting up pumps for us. So the man does more than fight for us. Baton Rouge, he was physically boots on the ground, working his tail off that night for us. So I'm sorry, not Jerry. I'm sorry, but he lives on the west end of the parish.
Yeah, that was in Lakeside where they were setting up more pumps in the middle of a 150-mile-an-hour wind. Yeah. Pat, you had something?
Just a comment. I made quite a few drainage district meetings, not in the last 2 years because I haven't been able to, but I would suggest anybody's house that got flooded or anybody that's interested, when there is a drainage committee meeting, that people go to it every once in a while and see what's going on, see what the politics are, see what the arguments are, and I think they'll learn something.
Yeah, basically nobody goes.
No. Many times, you know, we would only guess there. And if people don't keep an eye on their government, the government may not work right. Thank you.
So basically, to answer your question about those questions, I'm all mixed up right now. I think we answered every one of these questions in a roundabout way. Did you have a different question that maybe you sent in that I'm just not seeing? No, I'm asking a question. Because I kind of moved everything around. I'm trying to figure it out. I guess someone's got 4 and 5 questions on it, and I've tried to assess them all at one time.
My question's about that consolidation of the drainage district.
Okay.
And how we have a 2A, but we don't have consolidated monies from 6 and 2. And was that ever?
Okay.
Was that ever?
It was ratified, okay? So this is what happened. The parish believed that consolidating 6 and 2, 6 Amelia, 2 Morgan City, together was going to be able to be better. How? I don't know, 2 totally different pump station districts. But they did, and they made 2A. They tried to consolidate the tax, and it failed like by 75%. The people of Morgan City didn't want it. But the council still has it consolidated for operational and maintenance use only, not the money from. So every dollar supposed to be, I'm not tracking it. Every dollar from Morgan City is only supposed to be spent in District 2. Every dollar from Amelia, tax dollars, is supposed to be in District 6. To answer your question, I have no earthly idea if that's what they're doing. I'm pretty sure they are. Charlie, when you were there, were they?
Yeah, most definitely. It works real smooth. There's 2 different districts, 2 pools of money. So when you get an audit, you got 3 different audits. The auditors don't know what to look at. The CPAs is ask John Amata how much fun he has. So yeah, it's all nice and smooth. There's no problems with the money. No, it's actually a nightmare. John Amata done went to the parish many times in our case. The money does not get mixed. Trust me, we make sure that the money. I mean, there's 6 has all kind of money. 6 has tons of money. Was I against it? I think most people in this room was against the consolidation because there was no plan. Kind of what's going on right now. There was no plan. Let's just throw everybody to the wolves and we'll figure it out. The consolidation was not voted on by the people. Just the combined millage was voted on by the people. It failed. I think it was almost 80% it failed, and the parish council did not change it after.
They should have went back and changed it back.
Technically, it should have went to the people first. Yes. Yes. You gotta go on a Wednesday night and ask them people over there.
Yeah, they ramrodded that through. Yeah, they did.
Let me know how that goes for you.
Go ahead, Mr. Paul.
I just want to say one thing, that the parish council is taking applications for board members. Previous board members can also reapply. I have some applications here. They're due by noon on June the 18th. To Lisa, Mark, there is a stipend, actually.
$45 per meeting, but you're called 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
But anyway, you know, the parish is always looking for good people who are concerned about the area, and there are a lot of people here, I think, who are concerned about Morgan City. So if you might be interested in serving on the board, I have some applications. You can get them from Lisa Morgan, the council clerk. They are due to be in her hands by noon on June the 18th. So I hope we do get some applications.
If you want, you can give some to tell Jeannie, and she can leave them at the front desk at the City Hall, too. So if people want to come to City Hall, pick them up, they can. We all about the people, too, now. There's no doubt. Sir? Sam? Mr. Price.
Charlie, the pumps before they were moved, they were sitting behind the medical center. They were working and pumping, full capacity.
100%.
Moved them, we elevated them. When we moved them, reinstalled them, we elevated the discharge.
Not only elevated the suction, we elevated the discharge too by 20 feet. Yeah, don't take a genius to figure that one out.
I pump a lot of water. Okay. Anyway, quickly, taking the same pump sitting there now, de-elevating them, bring them back down, cut the discharge height down, get up some capacity.
My
48-inch
suggestion,
pipe, we can get pipe.
60-inch pipe
60-inch
discharge.
pipe. Okay.
My suggestion is disconnect the pipe on one of them.
Yes.
Turn it on. Let's see what it pumps at low elevation. If it pumps right, we cut the concrete through the levee.
We cut it off tonight. They're not there. The boys,
you don't have to cut it off. It's got bolts in it.
Coming out to stop us.
Cut the concrete, lay the pipe down in a hole, hook it back up, and we got a full-fledged pump.
Wouldn't that be quicker than a year and a half?
It would be a lot quicker.
It would be a lot quicker. It's all about a week's worth of work.
It's not goddamn rocket science. It's just water, weight, and volume.
100%. This is true. Friction loss. You got the friction loss at 20-foot elevation.
I understand that.
This is...
We can drop it. It's on concrete, it's on steel.
It's on concrete.
Concrete can be broken.
No, you just cut it with a saw. Pretty easy.
We can drop it down.
Yeah, we can do that, but the parish has to say yes, because we'd be trespassing if we don't.
I don't understand why we can't drop it down and drop a discharge. Very quickly. It doesn't seem like it would take a year and a half to make this work.
The money that was originally, some of the money came from the federal government. And
somebody just put up $14 million.
The federal government won't let you go through a levee.
I'm going to tell you right now.
It would work.
I don't care.
Who built the levee?
As the mayor of Morgan City.
Who built the levee?
If they gave me permission, we would start tomorrow to lower one.
Didn't the city build a levee? Is it federal government levee?
The district built the levee.
It's not a federal government levee.
Then we can go through the damn levee. They can't tell you what to do. They're else on the damn levee.
Listen, I would start tomorrow if the drainage district gave the city permission. The city would do it for them.
It's a simple process.
1 week to lower the first pipe.
When you want to get started.
Maybe it goes up over the top of it.
All right, thank you.
The concrete. Because we'd be trespassing, they could put us in jail. Steve, we have a council member of Morgan City who wants to talk. I would actually personally take that responsibility, to be honest with you.
And Lee, I know this is not addressed to the city of Morgan City, but you just mentioned if we go into that property, we would be trespassing. At what point when our agreement is null and void and our pumpers go to those pumping stations to run those pumps, will they be trespassing according to the parish?
Not if the parish gives them permission to do it, and he just did.
Okay.
It's kind of like letting somebody borrow your car. As long as you give them permission, it's not illegal. So if he's giving you, like inviting them into your home, you invited them in, yeah, he gave us permission to pump. So I don't believe they want to put us in jail for pumping the water. I don't believe.
Well, I'm just looking out for the citizens.
Sam,
If
we'll be all right. You left. All right, thank you. He's trying to protect our employees, and I'm gonna tell you, our employees are worried because they're getting confronted to their face on the street, and it ain't their fault. They're doing their job that they're supposed to do, and they're being confronted by citizens, rightly so, they're mad, but they're not wanting to pump the water anymore because they're getting confronted by people on the street. So please do not confront the pumpers, because you're not going to like it if they decide they don't want to pump anymore. I can't make them do it. They can just go home if they want. I can't make them do it. So that is happening, and that was one of the reasons why we had to do something before this even came up. Steve is 100% right. So I put everything here in the seat of the parish from the city. The city would lower the pipe if it had permission to do it. We'll deal with FEMA after the fact. The city would take over the drainage district if the parish let us do it, and we would foot the bill for any extras if they gave us the permission to do it. That is a fact, and that is the mayor speaking. I cannot speak for the parish council. I will not speak for the parish council. I think you should call all of your parish council members, which I think there's 3 in Morgan City, huh? Dean Adams, 6 that represent Morgan City. Dean Adams, Christy Prejean, I'm sorry, Rink, Gwen Hidalgo, Jimmy Davis, Patrick Hebert, and Mark Duhon. All of those people represent you in Morgan City. I suggest you get on the phone and start talking to them. If you want their cell phone numbers, it's on my Facebook page from last time I made a post. Everything we said here is exactly the truth. Everything, if you would like, when you leave here, you can come up here and look at it in all these nice big bundles of contracts and papers we have. Because you know where I got them from? The drainage district. But when I was running the drainage district, they left me on the email chain for a year after. So I got every single email.